Another mass shooting in America. 8 people shot dead at a FedEx facility in Indianapolis Thursday night. And now authorities have identified the gunman. Police say 19-year-old Brandon Hull was a former employee, but investigators are still searching for a motive. They say Hull started firing randomly, first in the parking lot and then inside the facility. President Biden ordered flags lowered to half staff to honor the victims, pointing out that it has only been 2 weeks since he last gave that order. In a statement, the president called gun violence a, quote, epidemic in America and urged Congress to act. He also repeated his calls for new gun violence prevention legislation, including universal background checks and a ban on, quote, weapons of war. CBS News correspondent Nikki Battiste is in Indianapolis and has the latest on the investigation.
First responders raced to the chaotic scene, finding the wounded and the witnesses running for cover.
They have an active shooter currently at FedEx.
Police say a man armed with a rifle got out of his car, shooting people outside this FedEx facility.
There was no confrontation with anyone that was there. There was no disturbance. There was no argument. He just appeared to randomly start shooting.
The massacre lasting just minutes, the gunman killing 4 people in the parking lot. Then, going inside the building, he killed 4 more before taking his own life.
The suspect took his life very shortly before officers actually entered the facility. Did not last very long.
Police say the suspect has been identified as 19-year-old Brandon Scott Hull, a former FedEx employee. The FBI is searching his home for clues, but there is still no motive. The teen was detained in March of last year and a shotgun taken away after Hull's mother reported her son might try to die by suicide by cop.
This is a sight that no one should ever have to see.
Jeremiah Miller was outside FedEx when he saw the hooded gunman.
He was yelling and he was screaming. And I saw an assault rifle of some sort. I saw the clip, and he started firing. Bang, 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 bang.
FedEx doesn't allow cell phones inside during work, so some frantic family members have been unable to reach those here during the attack.
A lot of these people are so, they're upset. They don't know if their loved ones are alive or hurt.
Mary Carol Weissert hasn't heard from her husband since he left for work.
Surreal and shocked. But not knowing. He might be fine. We don't know.
She and her husband, Steve, have been married nearly 50 years.
We don't know whether we should be here to pick him up, to take him back. If he's in the hospital, we know nothing. We're not the criminals. Why can't they just pull us aside and say this is what it is? And at least, if he is deceased, at least we know this.
And Nikki joins me now from Indianapolis. Nikki, it's just heartbreaking to hear those family members concerned about their loved ones. Do we know anything more about the victims, including those that are in the hospital?
Lana, what we do know is that family members are still waiting to hear about their loved ones. One victim's name has been released. I spoke with a woman earlier who was waiting. She'd been waiting for 12 hours at that point to hear whether or not her husband of 50 years was alive. The last she had heard from him, he was heading to work. We do know that there are still bodies inside. Police told us that they are still working to identify them. So family members still waiting. And another big point in this case is that FedEx employees, a lot of them aren't allowed to have their cell phones, not inside the building at all. So there are still employees' cars here right next to me in this parking lot with cell phones. So it's been really difficult for family members to get in touch with any of their friends or family working here, just with that FedEx rule, which the company is telling us they are reviewing. Lana?
Nikki, have investigators said anything more about what they're focusing on as they're trying to determine a motive?
Local police aren't saying much about a motive. They're saying they don't know the motive yet, but certainly one key fact that they will consider is that Brandon Hull was an employee at this FedEx. At some point last year, he stopped working here. Local police didn't say whether he was terminated or he left the job. They said they weren't sure. We also know that they searched the home where Brandon lives today and also previously last year in March when he was detained by police in another incident where they also found a shotgun. So he is a young man who has been on the local police radar. Lana?
Nikki, in reference to the investigators searching the home, do we know anything more about whether they were able to find anything or take any evidence?
Local investigators aren't telling us much about what they took, but they did indicate that they took possibly a computer from the home today. And to clarify, the rifle that they found last year in March at the home, they did confirm is still in police custody, has been in police custody since that point. So we do know that the firearm, the rifle that was used in this mass shooting, is a different weapon. Police didn't say whether or not they knew how or when Brandon Hull obtained that. Lana?
And Nikki, as you mentioned, the shooter's mother actually warned police about her son in an incident last year. What more can you tell us, or what more do you know about that incident?
What we know about that incident, according to a police report, is that Brandon Hull's mother contacted local police indicating that her son was in some way indicating he wanted to die by suicide by cop, essentially forcing police to come and kill him. So clearly some issues with him, and police say they did, look into the incident. They clearly brought him in to talk to him, but that is all we know at this point. Lana?
Now, still so many questions and so much grief. Nikki, thank you for staying on top of all of it.
Thank you.